I get a lot of questions about how to store the really big bulk food purchases and how to use 55-gallon drums for food storage. So today I'm going to take you on a tour of my food barrels. Hi, I'm Carolyn from Homesteading Family, and if you want to increase your self-sufficiency and your resiliency, make sure you click on the subscribe button down below so that you don't miss any of our videos. Welcome to the corner of the basement where I keep my 55-gallon drums of food. These are all food-grade drums that I store our bulk food in. I want to talk to you for just a minute before we look at what I have stored here about how we use these drums. Obviously, if I use one drum all the way down to the bottom and I use it all up, then that's really good for food rotation. It means I'm using all of it and I'm going to be able to fill that back up with fresh food, so I'm always rotating it. The downside of that is then I don't have any backup food when I get down to the bottom of the barrel. The way we remedy that is with most things we store, we have two different barrels. One for using and the other for keeping as backup storage. As soon as we get all the way to the bottom of one, then we switch over and we start using the other one and we refill the first one. That way we always have a full 55-gallon drum of whatever it is we're storing on hand, even when we're using things. Obviously, some items, if we're storing 55 gallons worth of it or 110 gallons worth of it, if I have two full drums, they're gonna take us years to get through, even in our family. So you have to make sure when you're doing something like this that you're using an item and storing an item that can last for years. Things like white flour and whole grains and salt are really ideal. So let's take a look. Right here, I have a white flour barrel. You can see it's pretty full right now. Got a lot of white flour in it. We've been keeping it really topped off over the last year just to make sure we always have really full drums. We don't go through this super fast because we use a lot of home milled flour. But you know, there's always the times when you want a little bit of white flour, and so I love having this on bulk and in supply. And I do have the two different drums of this so I can rotate through these things. When you go to store any of these bulk things, it's really important to deal with the reality that there are probably insect eggs in them. They are in a lot of our dry food that we get from the grocery store, but usually we consume them so quickly that we don't ever see the eggs hatch. However, if you're storing dry goods like this, you might see the eggs hatch, and there's nothing worse than opening up a huge package of food only to find that it's ruined because you have a large amount of insects in it. So it's really important to deal with that fact. One way that I like to do that is to buy a lot of this food in winter, and then I actually leave it in the trunk of my car for 3 days in freezing weather and let it thoroughly freeze for 3 days. This is going to kill off any of the eggs or the larvae that could be in there. If you don't have that ability, you can throw it into a large chest freezer, give it about 3 days in a chest freezer, and it'll kill everything off. And if you can't do that, you can go ahead and just put diatomaceous earth in it over the top. There are all sorts of listings of how much you need to put in for what kind of quantity grain you're storing. Let's look at this one. This is a hard white wheat. I like to keep this really well stocked up. If you guys don't have this on hand right now, I really recommend that you get some on hand. Wheat prices are gonna go up. Obviously, in order to make flour out of hard white wheat, you need a wheat mill, so you just have to keep that in mind. Here are whole oat groats, and let's see if I can get into it. We roll our own oat groats into rolled oats. You can see it kind of looks like wheat. It's a little bit longer and thinner, definitely has a different flavor to it and a different smell. So we go ahead and buy these bulk so that we can just roll them and make our own rolled oats. You just have to purchase a oat roller in order to do that, and then you get these great oats, and they're completely filled with all of their fresh nutrition. They haven't been ground and then sat on the grocery store shelf and lost a whole bunch of their nutrition in the process. Here's our backup bin of oats. This is the one that we like to have on hand. This is black beans. We use a lot of black beans, and I love having a bin full as a backup survival storage food. This would feed us for a really, really long time. That is a lot of meals of beans. Now, I don't tend to keep rice in this kind of quantity because really it's only white rice that stores for a long period of time, and we don't eat a whole lot of white rice. So I just make sure that I stay pretty stocked up on brown rice in case I need to have beans and rice or something for an easy meal. One thing that I like to keep on hand, but I don't keep a full bucket, and I don't even have a backup bucket, and that is sugar. I like to get a really good quality evaporated cane juice crystals, but let's be real. Even if it's healthier sugar, it's still sugar. But that's about a third full of evaporated cane juice crystals. This is just really handy for having on hand for preserving season, if I want to make a jam or a jelly, for making kind of traditional sugared desserts. Those things are really nice to just have this on hand. Occasionally, in our area, right in the middle of preserving season, sugar in bulk actually gets really hard to find. So I love just having this as a backup on hand in case I need it. Now, I do have another bin. It's not here, it's actually in another location, and that is of salt. If nothing else, you guys, if you don't have any other bulk storage, please get yourself some good quality salt in large quantity. You can make all sorts of food in a survival situation, but it's not gonna taste good if you don't at least have a little bit of salt, and your body needs it, especially if you're having to work extra hard for whatever reason. So make sure you get yourself some good salt. I like to stock Redmond real salt. I find that that just works really well for everything. I can buy it in bulk from Redmond's site. I'll put that link down below. But this is what I like to keep on hand in the really large quantities. I also get other things that I get in smaller quantities, and I keep those in 5-gallon buckets with the Gamma Seal lids. But you guys, consider getting yourself a little bit more food storage. And if you want to know how to store foods properly, check out this video right here where I take you through bulk buying and storing foods.